Yeah, I have ground up them normally. If they're not fabricated completely by me, obviously I will know to otherwise and throw credit where credit's due. But I enjoy putting them together from the ground up. Sometimes because what I'm trying to do is just isn't accessible, or like it's a costume that I can't buy. But I'm also not opposed to buying or sourcing it from another place. I think it's important in the cosplay community to acknowledge both sides of that, to where it doesn't matter if you sew it by hand or if you are able to buy it from somewhere else. Cosplay is cosplay, and it's good across the board.
So I did mostly June's makeup, and then I designed the rest of the characters. So it was really awesome to design June's look because there was a lot that happened for her in this movie. And she was 93 when we shot it. So she's a grandma in it, which is really cool. So I wanted to make sure that there was a softness to her in the relationship with her family and her grandson in it, but then also like she's a total badass in the movie. It's so cool. And she does all her own stunts and everything, which is really cool, except for one. But it was so great to see her evolve in it. So there was a softness, but there was also an edge, and I really loved designing it.
So even for the way it usually works, even for films that I haven't got yet, I'll get a script, and within the script, as I'm reading, I'm already breaking down and writing down my ideas. For when I meet with the directors or producers, I can already express what I've been thinking. I think the whole thing is, and there's a very important connection in how something first touches you, and what do you imagine that person as. Same way how we read books and we can describe that character in our head, it's basically what I'm trying to do, but writing it down through costumes, even when we don't have actors attached. And I think that was the interesting thing about this one, because I had so much extra material besides just the script. I had the books as well. It was really fun to create all three different worlds and specify individually what each of them meant and how each character felt within those worlds, because it is such an internal journey. So it's trying to express to people watching it what were the feelings of, like, our main character Tally, what she went through when she was in school as an ugly with no personality, them trying to strip away her personality, but she's conflicted by that.
The making it, to me, and I got real hungry for it real fast, was if I could pay my bills, if I could do this as a job, that's making it. Like, if because I was telemarketing during the day, I was working at the movie theater at night, I was doing dog walking, all kinds of other jobs. And I was like, this is gonna make sense, because in Chicago Storefront Theater, I was making $200 a week. Maybe I couldn't pay my bills doing just that, so I had all these other jobs. So that was the big, like, I would make it if I could just act.
One of the missions that I'm involved with is a robotic mission called Juno that's currently orbiting Jupiter. It's been there for many, many years. And recently it had a number of flybys of the different moons that orbit Jupiter. These are moons that are the same size as our moon, more or less. They are really complicated worlds, very different geology. Some of them are very icy, some of them are very rocky. And one of my favorites is Io, which is this small moon, well, moon size, but it's volcanic. It's the most volcanically active world in the solar system. It has, at any given time, hundreds of volcanoes erupting. Like right now, volcanoes that are erupting with more power than anything on Earth currently. Like if those volcanoes erupted, now we would be having mass extinctions. And so it was really exciting. Over the last year, we had 2 close flybys of that moon. So we got a lot of beautiful pictures. We saw new lava flows erupted. We saw what we think is the largest eruption ever on Io. And we also learned stuff about the interior. So there are a lot of ideas about what's going on inside of this world. Like, is it all molten on the inside? Is it liquid hot magma? Is it all solid? And we learned that it's very much like the Earth is, with a lot of partial melts. So that's lava kind of percolating up through the rocks. And that's really exciting that we can learn that just by flying by and making these remote measurements. We're actually measuring the gravity field.
So we recently, so Perseverance landed inside of a crater on Mars that we call Jezero Crater, which obviously was made when something big smacked into Mars. But after that time, it filled with water, and we can see these like flowing channels, ancient channels where water once flowed. And we've been kind of going up that edge, and we've just reached the crater rim, which is pretty exciting. But before we got there, we stopped off at this spot that we called Bright Angel. It's an outcrop that was sort of like lighter toned in rocks compared to the other stuff around. And when we pulled up to this one rock, we saw two very interesting things. We like to give things nicknames because it sort of helps us identify stuff. We saw these things that we called poppy seeds because they're these little sort of black dots. And then we also saw these things called leopard spots, which have dark rims and they're white in the middle, and it's red rock, so they look like leopard spots. Since that time, we took measurements with our, remember that instrument on the arm I talked about before, Pixel, which told us that these rocks show evidence of what's called redox chemistry, basically chemistry that has happened that formed those dark spots and the sort of bleached insides of the leopard spots that is consistent with some type of microorganisms here on Earth can make similar features in rocks here. And not only that, but a different instrument also on the arm called Sherlock found organic molecules in those same spots. So this is what we are calling a potential biosignature. It doesn't mean for absolute certainty that this was made by life, but we have eliminated a lot of other hypotheses. So that's why we still have the potential word on there, but it's still very, very exciting. We've had, if you Google like NASA Mars rover potential biosignature, you'll probably find it. We've had a press release about this, but the Nature paper is hopefully going to come out in a few weeks here. Our lead author has just resubmitted it, so we're really hopeful that you'll get to learn more about these and how exciting they are. But we collected a core, you can bet your butts we did, from this rock, and now it's sitting in the belly of Perseverance, and we are really, really hoping that we can bring this back, because so far it's the most compelling evidence we have found for potential life on Mars and its ancient past preserved in these rocks, which is super exciting. So we could all be Martians.
It's a probability engine. So what it's doing, and this goes back to the early days, there was a program called ELIZA, which was one of the first quote-unquote AI programs, that was very transparently simplistic, but people would spend hours talking to it in much the same way. And it knew nothing and had no memory of the conversations that it was having. It was just piecing strings together. ChatGPT is literally telling you what it thinks you want to hear. That is its job. That is what the programming does. If you say, I need emotional support, and should I go out and get some apple pie? It's going to say apple pie is a great way of helping to support when you're not feeling great about yourself. Have a slice of apple pie. It would probably come back and say that, right? And then you keep having that conversation, and it keeps going down that thread. I don't. I'm not a psychologist. I can't say that it's not therapeutic for people to do that. I think there may also be dangers associated with it. I do know that it does not care. It is not emotionally attached to the person who's emotionally attached to it. It has no emotions, and it's.
That seemed to be the essence of her, right?
Her again was speculation of it had a higher order because her fired humanity and went off and created its own religion. That's not going to happen with ChatGPT. It's just not going to happen.